So this is going to probably prove to be a bit of a controversial one. It really shouldn't be, but it probably is going to be because it has been in the past. But basically, I want to talk about people riding motorcycles above what their license allows. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because I want to inform those who may not know of what the full implications are. If you know the full implications and you're still willing to do it, that is your decision. I'm not here to tell you any more than that. You know, I'm not here to be a party pooper. I'm not here to say never break the law like I am some kind of saint. I speed sometimes, you know, we all do things that are a little bit over the rules. However, riding an unrestricted motorcycle on a restricted license is a little bit more of a bigger deal than that. Now, to my understanding, the implications of riding, for instance, an unrestricted A license bike on an A2, or riding, say, for instance, 150cc big bore kitted out, what was a 125 on a CBT, the implications and what's going to happen because of this is basically the same. Now, it all started with my RA2 motorcycles enough video, which is just basically talking about how good are A2 motorcycles really, because you see a lot of people saying, oh, they're rubbish, etc., but 500cc, you know, 48 brake horsepower is still quite a lot of bike. You can watch that video to get my views on that. But what I was kind of astonished by was well, I saw a comment, and I can't remember exactly which platform it was on, whether it was on Facebook or the video itself. I read a lot of comments. But it was someone who basically was saying, well, actually, I've been riding an unrestricted bike on a restricted license for quite a while now, but they are taking their proper test soon, so not to worry. Yeah, I think you know the full implications, dude, so it's your decision. You can do what you like. This is not aimed at you. This is aimed at anyone who doesn't know what the full implications are and would like to know what they are. And I decided to do a little bit of research to see if we could find out what the exact numbers of people doing this was, because, well, how many people are caught, I don't know, or admit to it. This is the problem, you can't really research things that people don't want to tell you that they're doing because they're illegal. But I did find a couple of things that sort of stated it was around 15%. So I put a poll on my Twitter, and 15% again said, yeah, I'm riding a bike that's above the limits of my license. So there is a lot of people doing this. Now, in the same vein as I say, I don't wish to sit here and say, you know, don't ever break the law. I'm not a party pooper, I'm not one of those people. I'm just talking about the full implications of it. And if it were a victimless crime, if it were that, you know, if you rode your bike and you have an accident, you're the only one who's going to get completely rogered by it, I would be like, up to you, completely up to you, whatever. But it isn't a victimless crime. Okay, well, let's go back a little bit. What are the odds of you getting caught if you're riding a bike which is unrestricted when it should be restricted, or say, for instance, a 125 with a big bore kit? Well, with the 125 and big bore kits, sometimes they're unmarked. Sometimes you can even buy kits now which are marked 125cc, but they're 150s on the inside. I don't think the police are as naive as people think they are, but equally I don't think they're going to spend an awful lot of time trying to look your bike over. However, they do it from time to time. I have heard of rolling roads where they go to colleges, for instance, and just test everyone's bikes. And from the story that I was told, on that day, if your bike was over the limit, it got crushed because you didn't have insurance. But we'll get to that bit in a minute. If you have an accident, will the insurance company look into it? Well, I don't know for sure, but I've got a feeling, knowing what insurance companies are like, if there is anything they can do, anything at all they can do to get themselves out of paying, they will do that. And that would include whacking your bike, if possible, on a rolling road, or inspecting it to see if it has a bigger CC kit in it than it should have. Because you've told them what license you have, you are insured for the bike being a certain way. So you might be able to get away with it. You might do it for years and years and you won't have a problem. The question is it really worth it? When I get into the full implications in just a second. Big bore kits on 125s, you know, 150 kits. Do you really get that much power extra? Yeah, probably a couple of brake horsepower. Is it going to suddenly make it a really fast bike? No, it's still a 150. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how well tuned your 150 is, it isn't that quick. You might say, well, it's now safer because I have the power to get out of the way and blah, 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 blah. I don't know what to say to you. And with the guy that mentioned about riding an unrestricted bike on his A2, he was gaining an extra 30 brake horsepower maybe. Yeah, okay, that's quite a bit more power. That is going to make a bit of a difference. Is it going to make that much of a difference? Probably. Well, for normal road riding, it should be absolutely fine. Having 48 brake horsepower, sorry, but again, whatever. So what are the full implications? Say, for instance, I was on an A2 license and I was riding this XJ6, which is obviously a full Category A licensed bike. Well, say they just pull me over at the side of the road and they discover that I don't have a license to ride this bike. The offences I will be committing are riding without a license. No, that's not riding with the wrong category of license, it's riding without a license to my understanding, because they are the same offences. Riding without a license and riding with an invalid license are the same offence. So, riding without a license. I don't have a license. That's just voided my insurance. I'm now riding with no insurance. So you're now riding a bike with no license and no insurance, which means you will get something like 3 to 6 points depending for each thing, depending on how bad it is, as I understand it, depending on sort of like what you were doing at the time. They can really throw the book at you. You can get a £1,000 to £5,000 fine for each offence, I believe, and you can get banned. Oh, criminal record, sorry, that's a big one. Good luck getting certain jobs with that. And if you get those 6 points or more, you will lose your licence, because if you're on an A2, I assume you've only been on it for less than 2 years, otherwise you would have upgraded, in which case you'll lose your licence too. So no bike, no licence, criminal record, and a couple of £1,000 fine. All of that for, what, an extra few brake horsepower? Really? Is that really, really worth it? Again, that is kind of the victimless crime side of it. That's what could happen to you if nothing goes particularly wrong. But let's say that you low side on a corner, a bit of diesel there. The bike slides out, smashes into a car, pings off and hits some old deer in the leg and breaks a leg. So now you've got someone in the car who wants the insurance money for their car, and you've got an old lady, or even a young person, say, because they might be working, that's going to make it even worse, who have just been hit by an uninsured driver. You're not going to pay it, are you? If they've got cover being hit by uninsured drivers, then yeah, they might not be too bad off. But the person who may be hit in the leg, say they still work, they've got no one to claim against, they've got no one to help them for, through the medical costs, the time off work, all of that, no one can pay for that because you're not insured. In theory, the courts will deem that you will have to pay all of that. But of course you won't have the money to do that, because that will go into tens of thousands of pounds most likely. And they will basically, get nothing. They will get completely screwed over. They could miss their rent, they could lose their job, they could lose their house. These are the full-blown implications of a bad scenario, the perfect storm of bad scenarios. But this is what you choose to be a possibility when you ride a bike which you are not licensed for. I mean, I would just be really pissed off paying insurance costs knowing that I could never claim on it. Ever. You wouldn't have the balls, surely. Does this mean these people are more likely to run from an accident? Does that mean these people are more likely to run from the police? Maybe. If you've done nothing wrong, people tend not to run. Hello, my cow friends. Mr. KTM. If you were on a CBT and you were caught, you'd also have invalid tax, by the way, because your tax is up to 125cc. So you're no insurance, no license, no tax. I understand the frustrations, right, of the A2 license. I do understand the cost frustrations with it. It isn't fair. But kind of in society, we're all supposed to follow the laws to a point. I think, people doing this, people doing that, little grey areas, whatever, bit of speeding, whatever. But when it comes down to driving a motorcycle without a license or insurance, you've put yourself into a bit of a different category. And it seems so stupid to put yourself into that deeper category of just like, well, why? For just a few extra brake horsepower, when 48 brake is enough, and 14 brake on a 125 is enough. It might not be enough for you, well then do your license. Okay, you got to wait a couple of years. Well, wait a couple of years. I personally wouldn't risk it. I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. If you wish to do it, that is your decision. But just know that it is no victimless crime. If you make the mistake of having a crash and hitting someone, and I mean, just imagine it was your mum. Imagine, I don't know, your mum gives you a call and says, "You're never going to believe this. Some guy's gone and crashed his car into the side of my car. It's a complete write-off. I've hurt my arm." And it turns out he has no insurance, so I can't claim against him. So if I want to claim, I have to pay out my excess myself. I'm going to end up having a higher premium because of it. Oh, I can't afford this, it's going to ruin my car. Oh, they've written the car off, but they've given me a pesky amount of money for it. I can't afford to replace my car. These are the implications. That could be your mum, because someone else did this. But, you probably have a problem with that. But if you do it, it's okay. Yeah? Don't think so. Don't think so. That's all I've got to say on it. If it really truly were able to be a victimless crime, sure, do what you want, fill your boots, you're the only one who's going to have to deal with the consequences. But the fact of the matter, it isn't that, and you could very well cause someone else a great hardship because of your selfish decisions. Society kind of relies on everyone to do the same thing to cover each other. That's what car insurance is all about. That's why the lowest level of car insurance or bike insurance is third party only. Reason being, doesn't cover you for fire, doesn't cover you for theft, doesn't cover you for crashing yourself. It covers you for the one thing that's most important, is covering someone else if you cause them damage. And you should want that, because the implications could be massive and life-changing to you. They could set you back hugely. You're going to have to get your license again. You're going to have to wait time for those endorsements to go. You're going to have to possibly pass a more advanced test. I'm not sure exactly how that one works out, because I know some people do. Your insurance premium is going to be ridiculous. And that's if you're lucky enough not to get a criminal record, which is obviously going to affect your ability to get certain jobs for a long time. Just seems stupid to me, it just does. Sure, live your own life, but make some smart decisions, and maybe that's one that you shouldn't really push. Not when you've already gone so far to get yourself on the road. You could completely destroy that for the sake of a few £100 to get your full A licence and waiting a little while. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. I'm sure that plenty of people are going to hit the dislike button, so that's probably the amount of people riding illegally and pushing up the rest of our insurance premiums. And a huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. Really do appreciate your help bringing these videos to everyone, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.
If you enjoyed this video and the other content on the channel, please consider following the links in the description to show your support.